Hey, this is Mr. Deem. I'm sorry I'm not there today. I'm going to be out Monday and Tuesday with Mr. O'Brien and a couple other teachers at a school up in New York called Rochester Prep, learning about how they do things and hopefully bringing some cool things that they do here to ePrep. So I'm sorry I'm not there, but I know that you'll be able to work very well on your presentations today. For those of you who were not here on Friday, I'm making this video to make sure that you're able to get started on the right note and that I've covered all directions here for you to look back as you create your presentation today. T3 ELA and Social Studies Performance Task, 7th grade, Mr. Deem and Miss Bell. I know you've already begun work for about a week with Miss Bell on your current event that involves violence, and I know we've also begun talking about how you're going to do that same thing in social studies class. Well, this is going to give you all the information, the rubric, the tasks, the steps that you're going to need to complete in order to get a great grade on this final performance task. Scholars in both English and social studies will work to answer the following essential questions. First, is violence necessary, and is it effective? Second, what lesson can we learn from violence in the past, and how can we apply it to our time? Social studies presentation. The scoring rubric is on the next page. This task will be out of 30 points, and you'll see how those points are broken down in just a moment. Schedule. Week 1, that's this week, beginning Monday, May 18th. You are going to begin work on your presentation and use this intro video and the rubric to guide you. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, you will be working on this presentation in Google Docs. You will finish your presentation by the end of the day on Friday and then have a little time for peer review. Week 2 will be next week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we will be dividing up and having scholars present in front of the class. So you will be presenting on one of those days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. Friday, we'll go over T3 data and flex day. Your first step, hopefully, over the weekend you've already begun your first step because that's what I asked you to do on Friday, but if you have not, your first step is to come up with which historical event of violence you'd like to do extra research on. Here's a list of some that you could choose. The Spartans of ancient Greece and their Persian Wars and the Peloponnesian War, the conquests of Alexander the Great, gladiator combat of ancient Rome, persecution of early Christians by the Romans, the Crusades, Mongol warfare and acts of terror, destruction of native civilizations during the Age of Exploration. This would include Native Americans, the Maya, the Inca, the Aztec, and persecution of Protestants by Catholics following the Reformation. If you have another idea, and it's something that we've covered this year and it involves a violent event, chances are very good I'll allow you to use that for your project. Since I'm not here today and tomorrow, please run that idea by whoever is covering. It could be Miss Stutler, Miss Jarvis, or Miss O'Connor. Have them email me with your idea, and I'll email back as soon as I can to let you know if it is approved. Let's have a quick look at the scoring rubric. This is also in the packet that you've been handed out today. It's broken down into elements. You'll see on the left side. There are 4 total elements, and for each of those elements, you have a possible 5 points. So for the first one, summary of historical event of violence. This is going to be your first slide on your Google presentation. You'll notice that for each element, there is a minimum requirement of 5 to 7 sentences and 2 sources of online material from websites or journals that you find online. Those need to be printed out and annotated, meaning you highlight, underline, circle the information that you used from those sources. We'll talk more about printing and turning those in just a moment. Element number 2 is an essential question. You're going to answer, was violence necessary and was it effective for the people using it? Element number 3 is the summary of the current event that you're studying with Miss Bell. So you're going to give me a brief summary of what happened in that event, who was involved, what was the effect. Again, 5 to 7 sentences, and have the 2 sources. They may be the ones that you use in Miss Bell, the same 2 sources. Finally, element 4 is essential question. What lesson can we learn from the historical event, and how can we apply it to the current event of violence today? In addition to the elements, you will also have an opportunity to achieve points based on your visual presentation and your public speaking. So, if you have at least 2 appropriate and enriching graphics, that means somewhere in your presentation, you will get those 2 points. No graphics, 0 points. You have at least 2 media elements. That means a video in your presentation, a website with additional information on your presentation. 2 of those, you get 2 points. Grammatically sound means that there are no grammatical errors, that is very easy for me to read and grade, there are no spelling errors. If so, you'll get 2 points. The public speaking element, I'm looking for good volume, eye contact, articulation, can I actually understand what you're saying? And then finally, do you display a strong argument? Do you display why or whether that act of violence was necessary, or why or whether that violence was effective? If you can make that claim with your presentation, then you'll get that extra point. So here's where you're going to begin today. Step 2, beginning on Monday, create a Google presentation. Each element from the rubric must be included on a slide or multiple slides of your presentation. First, enter the following URL. It is tinyurl.com/mqbnqs6. Once you do that, it'll open up a presentation template that I've created. You're going to click on File and Make a Copy. Next, number 3, you're going to rename the Google presentation. You should rename it with your name .yourhomeroom.t3 project. For example, mine would be stephandeem.nau.t3 project. Number 4, you're going to share this document with me. So you're going to click Share in the upper right corner and enter stephandeem1@gmail.com. Make sure you enter in that email address exactly as it is right here on the video. Number 5, begin your research and complete each element in your presentation by the end of the week. You'll see that in the template, I've provided you with each element in the left side, element 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you need to add another slide for that element, just click on the element and hit the plus in the left-hand corner, and it'll add in a new slide for you to add in information for that element. And number 6, each online source that you quote or cite in your presentation must be saved, because I need you to hand these in to me when you finish your project. So I suggest you keep a Google document open in a separate tab while you work. For example, from your Google Drive, you're going to select New and then Google Docs. This way you can copy and paste the materials you used and then print them when I return on Wednesday. I think this is very similar to what you've done with Miss Bell based on what I've heard from her. So this should be also very simple since it's the second time you'll be doing it. Copy and paste. Copy it into a Google Doc, and then when I return on Wednesday, we'll print out those pages down in the lab. Have fun with your research, and work hard during this final stretch of 7th grade social studies. We are nearing the end. I just need your best for another 2 to 3 weeks. See you on Wednesday.